everybody, Anthony Navarro here and Adam Smith with Colorado Shooting Sports. We're going to be talking to you today about ammunition, specifically pistol ammunition, plus P plus ammo, and some of the things that can happen to your ammunition that can inadvertently increase the pressure of your rounds, potentially causing some catastrophic results. Some of the things that can influence the velocity and the pressure of your round is the weight of the bullet, the amount of powder in the bullet, and also how deeply the round is seated in the chamber or in the cartridge.
So basically, velocity with firearms cartridges, it's a balancing act between the mass of the bullet, which we refer to in grains. A lot of people seem to think grains is the amount of powder in it. Actually, no. They do measure powder in grains, but when you see it on the box, it says 115 grains, 124 grains for 9mm. You're actually talking about the mass of the bullet. The heavier it is, the less powder we have to run behind it, because we need to slow things down and control the pressure. Firearms are designed to handle a certain amount of pressure, and that standard actually for each cartridge is set by a central organization that all the firearms and ammo manufacturers agree upon. There's a couple of different versions of ammunition for certain calibers. For 9mm, among others, you have standard pressure ammo, plus P, and plus P plus. What plus P indicates is a higher pressure level. All of the cartridges that have plus P ammo available, 9mm, 45, 38 Special, for example, 38 Super being another, all of those are over 100 years old. They're very old cartridges. At the time they were developed, firearms were not capable of handling more than standard pressure. In the intervening 100 years, we figured out that guns can actually handle quite a bit more pressure.
The metal got better. The way they make it got better.
Everything about it, the design of the gun's better. So in order to keep old guns from firing too hot of an ammo, they've established another category called plus P. Plus P for most cartridges is about 10% more pressure than the original design. Most modern firearms can handle it. Guns that can't, generally speaking, will be specifically labeled as do not fire plus P. There are some guns that have very thin chambers, or anything old. If you have a gun from the 50s or 60s or earlier, definitely consult the manufacturer, if they're still in business, to make sure that it can fire plus P. If in doubt, stay with standard pressure loads.
So what about plus P plus?
Plus P plus is a pretty interesting subject. Plus P plus is a category that doesn't technically exist according to the ammo manufacturers. Some companies do make it.
My ammo says plus P plus.
It does. So plus P plus is hotter than plus P. That's all that really tells you. It doesn't specifically have a ceiling for how high it could get. All guns are fired with what's called a proof load at the factory. It's a double load in terms of pressure. Now, obviously, it's not something you want to fire out of your gun on a regular basis unless you like picking pieces of gun out of your forehead. But plus P plus is somewhere between plus P and a proof load. Most of the time it's 15 to 20% higher than standard, sometimes as high as 35%. That's one where you really got to do your homework. Make sure that your firearm is capable of handling that. A lot of guns are. Most modern guns are, in fact. But if you have any questions, come see us. We'll help you select the proper load for your firearm.
Yep. And when we're talking about the mass of the bullet, keep in mind, like this 9mm is a 115 grain bullet. It's significantly less lethal than, say, a 5.56 that's only 55 grains. The reason for that is the velocity. This is going 3 times faster than that particular bullet. So one of the reasons why I carry plus P plus ammunition in my guns is I typically carry very small guns. So take, for example, a Glock 26. I also carry a Glock 19, and I also carry an M&P Shield. You can take a look at how small that barrel is. So for the little bit of velocity that I'm losing because of barrel length, I'm making up for with that plus P ammo. Keep in mind, if I'm consistently feeding this a diet of plus P ammo, I'm going to destroy the gun. So no matter how good the gun is made or who makes it or what brand it is, running plus P plus ammo through your gun consistently is going to cause some problems. But the reason I shoot plus P ammo is human beings are not gummy bears. We're not homogeneous 10% gelatin. We're shooting for center mass, upper thoracic, and also the interocular space, because that's the densest concentration of vital organs, and I want to get all the way in there. So that's why I do that with that particular ammunition. Keep in mind also, if you've taken our TAC pistol class, we are constantly telling you guys, don't pick ammo up off the ground. And take, for example, a couple of rounds here. This is, again, a standard right out of the box 9mm. This is a round I picked up off the ground when we were doing Type 3 malfunctions. So you can also have a round that looks just like this, and the round is able to rotate, the bullet's able to rotate in the case, and the next time you run it and hit that feed ramp, it's going to pack it in the case and potentially blow up the gun. So we really need to be inspecting our ammunition all the time. As a matter of fact, I would go one step further in saying, yeah, this is a really nice and beautiful shiny box, but it is up to you, the end user, to open up that box of ammo and personally inspect every bullet before you fire it, because I've seen some ammunition coming from great manufacturers where the bullet came upside down. there was a crack in the case or some other problem, or maybe even had one that the primer was upside down. It's up to us to check that, because the manufacturers, when they sell you this stuff, they don't really care if you're going to get killed in the street because you didn't look at your ammo.
Yep. Going back briefly to the firearm and plus P plus loads, some firearms you're going to look at increased maintenance. You're going to have to replace recoil springs more frequently. A lot of firearms, and 45 plus P, 45 auto is one of the best plus P calibers out there. If you've got to carry a 45, you absolutely should be running plus P ammo in it if the gun can take it. That said, if it's a 1911, you're going to need a different recoil spring. Very few 1911s with the factory recoil spring are going to cycle reliably, especially if it's a really small one. If you have one of the micro compact little itty bitty 3-inch barrel 1911s, it's almost a given that you're going to have to go to a different recoil spring. With those hotter loads, the additional recoil, we may have to tune the gun a little bit to get it to be 100% reliable with your plus B plus. And if it's not 100% reliable, why are you carrying it?
Yep. Another thing is that when you're prepping up your rifle or pistol for defensive purposes and you're racking around in it in the morning, keep in mind that every time that bullet hits that feed ramp, it's potentially packing it further and further into the case. So you can take an example. Here's an extreme case. Here's a 5.56 right out of the box, and here's one that got packed into the case. That's a huge problem for the end user. So, and then Adam, what's up with this one? It looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, it looks fairly normal, right? And it kind of goes back to the same problem we're going to have with all of these when we deep seat the bullet. The case is designed to have a certain volume of powder and then usually a little bit of airspace. There are some that are loaded with compressed loads, but very few. It's designed to achieve a certain level of pressure with that airspace. Well, here we've taken up the airspace by stuffing a bullet into it. Here, there's a big dent in the cartridge. And that dent has reduced the volume inside the cartridge enough that this could potentially overpressure. Any of these that you have an overpressure condition like that, you have the possibility of having what's called a ruptured case head. The back of the thing blows off, or your gun blows up. Not a good plan.
So come and visit us at Colorado Shooting Sports at 2435 8th Avenue here in Greeley. You can also visit us on the web at coloradoshootingsports.com or give us a call at 970-395-0664. Thank you very much and have a great day.